Hey there, I am not a native speaker. I will keep on reading Fluent forever, how to learn an English fast and never forget it. Three Korean T's. You can easily hear the distinctions between the 10 T's because you have learned to ignore them. Back when you were a baby, you could hear all of them. This made your world confusing, a very confusing place. You were surrounded by babbling adults, each of whom had slightly different ways of saying their vowels and consonants. Your ears rang with the sounds of hundreds of different consonants and vowels, and you lay within this chaos searching for order. You began to find this order between 6 months and 1 year of age. The best date we have on this process come from studies of Americans and the Japanese. By using brain scans, searchers can see whether an individual can hear the difference between any two sounds. An American adult listening to a monotonous rock log will show a sudden spike in brain activity when log breaks the monotony. But a Japanese adult won't show any change whatsoever. A Japanese baby, however, has no trouble whatsoever recognizing the two sounds, an ability that gradually vanishes between 6 and 12 months of age. What happens at this critical juncture? The baby's brain is collecting statistics. There is a mouth line that connects the letters R and L, and a consonant can fall anywhere on that line. In an American household, a typical baby will hear hundreds of slightly different consonants that tend to fall into two large piles along this line. Sounds that are like mostly R-like, and sounds that are mostly L-like. If you record a typical day, an American baby's life, and conduct those sounds, you will see this. Well, it's an image, so sorry guys, but if you don't have the book, I just can't show you. This is an audio file. So we tend to think of R and L as two distinct sounds, but they are not. Each consonant is a group of sounds that are roughly similar. We create these groups according to the sound environment in which we are raised. Because we don't hear many sounds halfway between R and L, we rightly decide that those babbling adults are all using variations of two consonants instead of hundreds. A baby in a Japanese household may hear many of the same sounds, but most of these sounds fall directly in the middle of the RL spectrum. They rightly group all of these sounds together into a consonant halfway between R and L. This consonant, the Japanese R, doesn't sound quite like R, and it doesn't sound like quite like L. If you listen to it, you'll find that your English ardent brain doesn't know what to do with it. It will get filtered into one of your two consonant groups almost at random. When you listen to a person with a thick Japanese accent, notice this. They aren't saying R when they mean to say L. They are saying a consonant you can't quite hear. Hearing the unhearable. The magic of minimal pair testing. Let's return to our Japanese adults listening to monotonous rock in a brain scanner. As was discussed, he won't show any neural response if we surreptitiously sneak in a lock. What wasn't yet discussed is how terrifying this is for language learning. It is not that he misinterprets what he hears. He literally cannot hear the difference between these two sounds. As far as his brain is concerned, the words rock and lock may as well be spelled the same. In learning English, he's fighting his own brain. How can we possibly hope to succeed? The most promising research in this field comes from a collection of studies performed at Stanford and Carnegie Mellon. Researchers took a group of Japanese adults, gave them a small wad of cash, headphones, and a computer, and hold them to sit in a room and listen to recordings of the word rock and lock. Their job was to press a button labeled rock when they heard rock, and to press a button labeled lock when they heard lock. Understandably, their performance was terrible. Even after practicing, it remained terrible. So far, so bad. The elusive Japanese R. The Japanese R found in words like origami, ramen, and tempura. I think, yeah, that's how to pronounce it. Tempura. Actually, sounds like a combination of R, L, and D. With a little more R than anything else. It's a terribly difficult consonant to nail down for an American. I've spent a good half hour repeating after recording of the word ramen. I don't remember how to pronounce it right now. To prepare for one of the pronunciation demo videos, and I still can hear the damn thing or produce it well. Fortunately, Japanese speaker never misinterpreted me when ordering beer in Japan. How could they? How could they? There's not such thing as bilu in Japanese. So, biru. Okay, so here comes the magic. Another group of participants was placed in the same situation, only this time their computers' screens provided immediate feedback after each button press. For every correct guess, they saw a green check mark. For every incorrect guess, they saw a red X. Suddenly, they began to learn. After free, after free 20 minute session, they had successfully rewired their brains. On later brain scans, they showed a marked response in the rock tests. They had learned to hear the unhearable. We can take this research and use it for your own needs. Rock and Lock are classic members of a special group of words known as minimal pairs. These are pairs of words that differ by only one sound, and every language is full of them. I've tortured quite a few of my Austrian English students on the differences between minimal pairs like thinking and thinking. Suspect and suspect, and niece and niece. Well, that one I don't know. Okay, so these pairs get right to the heart of the hearing problem in language, and practicing them with a feedback provides the best way to train our ears and rewire our brains. You will be able to find essential minimal pairs in your language, and the beginning of many grammar books with CDs, and definitely throughout all pronunciation books. And I'm making it a personal mission to provide minimal pair tests on my website in as many languages as I can find. These tests are as basic as they get. They play a recording log and then ask you what word you hear, rock or lock. But what they lack in Spanish, they make up for any results. I used them to learn the obnoxiously difficult sounds of Hungarian in 20 minutes a day for 10 days. They are also a lot of fun. You can feel your ears changing with each repetition. The benefits of ear training: pattern recognition and pattern breaking. When you use minimal pair testing at the beginning of your language journey, you will learn much faster in the long run. You'll have an easier time remembering new words because they no longer sound foreign. You'll also understand native speaker better because your ears are in synchronization. With their speech. Instead of wasting your time correcting bad pronunciation habits, you'll be able to spend your time consuming language at breakneck speed. How does ear training cause all of this to happen? You've given yourself the ability to recognize individual sounds, but that's not the end of the story, because you've spent time focusing on those sounds. You'll be aware of the subtle changes that occur when you string those sounds together. This gives you two superpowers. Yay! One can hear sounds rules, and you can hear sound rules, and you can hear when those rules are broken. Sounds rules connects the spelling to sound and sound to sound. They tell you which sounds can be combined. Sticks is okay in English, and which can't. Okay. Languages are full of complex sound rules, and we are very good at picking them up if we can hear them. You can observe this with kids. There's a neat linguistic test that researchers like to perform on 5-year-olds. They show them a right bird drawing and proclaim, "This is a wong, wong." Then they show the kids, two of them, and say, "Now there are two of them. There are two," and the kids gleefully exclaim, "Guffs." Okay. Yeah. So this all seems simple and pleasant enough, but keep in mind that these kids are performing an extraordinary complex operation. Somehow deep within their cute little heads, they know that the plural of this entirely new word sounds like that. Whereas the plural of a different new word like "hif" sounds like "s," and the plural of "tas" sounds like "is." These rules are nothing to sniff at, and they are different in every language. German kids say "bugs," not "bugs." Okay. If your ears are sensitive to each new sound in your language, you will notice when there's a strange sound rule afoot. And every time you notice it, you get closer to internalizing it. Your second superpower allows you to notice when words break those rules. In English, we have lots of pronunciation rules. K. It's always pronounced kick. As in kick. So, except when it's not knife. Different. So the nice things about rules and exceptions is that even when they are as maddeningly complex as English, and lucky for you, they are nearly always simpler in other languages. They never create new sounds. There is no word in English that doesn't rose the 41 or 42 sounds of the English language. This is the case in every language. If you can hear all of these sounds of the sounds in your language, then you may get surprised by the spelling of a word, but never by the sound of the word. This helps you learn faster because your memory doesn't need to struggle to store some indescribable new sound. If you were like mhodur or something like that, it's just a combination of six familiar sounds, then it's not longer particularly foreign. And it won't be any harder to remember than an unusual but understandable name like Lakira. Because of this, you will be able to memorize the pronunciation of new words accurately, which will allow you to recognize them when they are spoken by a native speaker. Poof! You have just given your listening comprehension a massive boost from the start. If you have better listening comprehension, you gain more vocabulary and grammar every time you hear someone speak your language. Poof! You have just boost your language and grammar knowledge for the rest of your life. You gain all this at the spans of a few hours of minimal per study. Now, if we can learn to produce those sounds, we are in business. So, key points. Your brain is hardwired to ignore the differences between foreign sounds, to rewire it. Listen to minimal pairs in your target language, similar sounding words like niece and niece. And test yourself until your brain adapts to hear these new sounds. By practicing in this way, you'll be better equipped to recognize words when they are spoken, and you will have an easier time memorizing them on your own. Thank you.